Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, folks, realignment. There's talk of Vandy being out of the SEC. I really can't imagine that, but they're saying there's a possibility of it. Now, I'm certainly not in favor of this. I think Vandy's I think they're a founding member of the SEC, so I can't imagine them not being a part of the SEC. And look, I make sport of them from time to time because the truth is they're at a big disadvantage. Vanderbilt University is a tremendous college and university, and it's not easy to get in there. It's really difficult, and that makes it really hard for them to field a team that's anywhere close to the SEC level that all the other clubs can do. And the same thing happens with Georgia Tech. You know, why is Georgia Tech not as good as Georgia? Because it's really hard to get into Georgia Tech. It's an engineering school. So Vandy being put out of the SEC, I'm not in favor of it.
But we're not going to sit here and listen to you bad-mouth the United States of America. Gentlemen!
But there's talk of it. And in reality, what they're saying is that Vanderbilt could get left behind. It says it's unthinkable, except it's college football. And granted, we just saw what happened to the Pac-12. It's gone. It's the Pac-4 now, so it'll be gone shortly. And that's, I think, what they're kind of trying to get at is that there's going to be so much evolution with these conferences that they may morph into something else. I cannot imagine a world without an SEC, the SEC coming into something else, but I didn't know that the Pac-12 was going to be gone overnight, and they've been there 104 years or something. Said the television executive told me it won't be the SEC asking Vanderbilt and Mississippi State to leave. The Big Ten won't give Northwestern and Rutgers "it's not you, it's me" speech. More likely, he said, and this is someone who has been involved in talks that have influenced the direction of college football, those conferences will just be abandoned for something new. The SEC's a brand, the Big Ten's a brand, but those brands are only as good as the institutions involved. So they're talking about NFL Campus North forms with the strongest football programs from the Big Ten, and then NFL Campus South does the same with the core gridiron powers of the SEC, plus Clemson and Florida State and whoever, because the ACC is going to be gone at some point. Now, this may be several years down the line. It says the weaklings are left behind like Baltimore in 1984 watching the Mayflower truck disappear on the western horizon. It says it makes sense. The natural progression of things is people such as the Atlantics or the Athletics' Chris Vanini have been writing for years. It's insane and unthinkable, which makes it college athletics normalcy. But I'm willing to start preemptively screaming about now in hopes that a decision based on something other than enriching a small group of people is made in this self-sabotaging world. It says, and I don't see Greg Sankey ever going along with anything like this. He says, and he actually said, not on my watch. Sankey could say of this preposterous idea of leaving behind the best institutions in the best city. He's talking about Vandy, and of course they won national titles in baseball. They got a very good basketball program. Said he declined to comment on the idea of Vanderbilt being left behind through a spokesman, not wishing to delve into hypotheticals. And the writer says, this did not surprise me, and I wouldn't take it as confirmation that he has the NFL Campus South roster on a dry erase board in his office. Also, there's a decent chance this takes enough time to materialize that isn't on his watch. Yeah, and it would be after Greg Sankey, I'm sure. And here they're talking about a TV executive that said some of these lesser programs have been just drafting off the big boys for their money. The TV executive, he will only speak on condition of anonymity. He said that's why Vanderbilt gets the same SEC payout every year as Alabama. At some point, you should probably be able to survive on your own merits. It's an interesting time for this to be brought up at Vanderbilt because Vanderbilt's investing almost $300 million on their football field. And it said the Vanderbilt people have actually thought about this, and they don't want to talk on the record, but people in Vanderbilt have been using the term charter member a lot. Said Vanderbilt was there from the first day of the SEC in 1932. Vanderbilt sets the academic pace in the league. Vanderbilt has championship programs. Vanderbilt is serious about spending money on football. And it's talking about Clark Lee, the head coach there, his third season. He's up against Hawaii, and he won some games. He won 5 games last year. It's not like he played terrible. He only won 2 SEC games against Florida and Kentucky. Shocked me. It's talking about how they're open up against Hawaii amidst construction on the football stadium. Like I said, they're really trying to improve that stadium, and they need to. It's not very good. says, if you're just going to become an NFL campus, you'll be compared more closely to the NFL and you'll suffer by comparison. It says it can't happen. It might happen. It said, I didn't put much stock in that before recent events because university presidents have always liked their talking points, and Vanderbilt being one of those. And Coach Lee actually talked about the Pac-12 crumbling. He said, well, I think it's sad. I know this is just the nature of where things are headed now, and it makes me really happy to be a charter member of the SEC and to know where my home is, right? Question mark. So, yeah, the fact they're a charter member, and I don't think there's anybody in the SEC who's trying to push Vanderbilt out, but there are crazy things happening right now. It's a little bit nuts. And could I see a world 20 years from now where Vanderbilt's not a part of the SEC or the SEC becomes something else? It's not impossible. I would hate that. I would hate that. I think that would be just terrible for college football all the way around. But, we just saw the Pac-12 dissipate. The ACC is on the verge of whatever they're going to do. That's kind of a little mini disaster right now.
Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
And so what you're left with right now is the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, and then there you go. A lot of people think it's going to wind up just being two conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC. That I could see. I really could. I don't think the ACC will be around past 2036 anyway. And I do want to talk about my sponsor today of today's video, and that's Sevierville Golf Club. It's the place where I play every week. Course is in great condition. They really take good care of it. They have two golf courses there. They have the River and the Highlands. And the River is really for your lower handicap folks, tons of water. I mean, it's difficult. And then you got the Highlands, which is a little bit shorter, a little bit more of a shot maker's course. But both courses will challenge you. And the courses are always in great shape. And they have a terrific practice facility out there. I use it every week.
He's got a beautiful backswing. Dad, he got all of that one. He's got to be pleased with that. The crowd is just on its feet here.
And if you want to putt or chip or work on any part of your game, you certainly can. It's second to none. It's really a nice facility. And if you want to pop in and get something to eat or drink, you certainly can in Mulligan's. They have a very nice restaurant in there with actually have a chef. So be sure to check that out. And remember, it's open to the public. It's called a golf club, but it's open to the public. You can just give them a call or you can book online. So be sure to check out Sevierville Golf Club. I highly endorse that golf course, or two golf courses. All right, folks, I did want to cover this. I don't ever want to see Vanderbilt out of the SEC. I just don't. I don't think that's fair. And they certainly don't want out. So hopefully this never happens, but there's a lot of talk and scuttlebutt about it. And with all this realignment, who knows what's going to happen? It's crazy right now. It really is. Nobody, and I mean nobody, thought 2 years ago the Pac-12 would just disappear. Anybody that would thought that, you'd thought they're crazy. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's be able to continue to cover the Vols, the SEC, all the realignment stuff. If you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just hit that little button. Costs you nothing and helps me out. And right over here's the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll love. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.